Well, today is the third Minute for Mission for our generosity campaign. Today's title is How Our Church Can Be Generous with God. Our God is a generous God. All that we have and all that you are gifts from God. You are saved by the generous grace of God. Each week we are assured that our sins are forgiven and that we are saved. What are we to do in response? The more we practice generosity, the more we understand its importance and beauty. We are meant to be generous and to emulate God's generosity to us. Each day we can discern our interactions with others, how we can be generous with God. It could be as simple as a larger tip to the restaurant, saying yes when asked to give time to a cause or a friend, or an attitude shift towards others. And yes, it could be a larger commitment to the church in both time and money. God desires that we be partners with God in creating heaven here on earth. Being generous to God, with God, we can do this as an individuals or as a church. The church is a community of believers who do God's work in the world. This is not a stewardship campaign. I have not mentioned the church's budget needs. This generosity campaign is not about filling out a pledge or giving form so that we balance the church budget. This is about your personal commitment to God. Giving is a spiritual discipline like reading the Bible, serving as a church officer, volunteering, or doing daily devotions. Your intention of giving to the church is a promise to be generous with God. Your generosity to the church will allow the church to be more generous with God as well. I know that there are a lot of other nonprofit organizations that are asking for money at this time of year. While many of them deserve our support, the church, be it Presbyterian, United Church of Christ, or Baptist, is unique. The mission of the church is the shining example to the world that God's people are working with God to redeem the world. Completing the intent of giving form this year is not a legally binding promissory note, nor is it church dues, nor is it a New Year's resolution, nor is it your annual contribution to some organization's budget. It is your commitment to God to be generous with Him. What are we holding on to, and what can we let go? How generous can we be? This week you will be receiving a letter in the mail with a generosity form that you can fill out and return to the church by December 8th. Just a short time enough for you to think about it. You can consider it a pledge or an intent on giving, but please consider it as your opportunity to commit to being generous with God. Many of the thoughts of this generosity campaign came from a book entitled God's Gift of Generosity, Gratitude Beyond Stewardship by Carl B. Lewis. Mr. Travis is a Presbyterian pastor who started writing this book in 2014. He finished the book while in hospice during COVID. While his doctors originally only gave him a short time to live, he was in hospice for 3.5 years. The interesting part of the story is he then had an operation that was not possible before, and he is alive today, extolling the benefits and joys of generosity. Be generous as you fill out your intent of giving. Be generous with God.